Coach, I understand why we lost this game. I'm excited
Nice.
to freaking queue and try to see the advantages of, them throwing or the cooldown and efficiency with mana. I'm seeing if you're a single target hero, then you're more of a killing hero. If you push waves better, then you're more or less a more farming hero. These are things I'm going to think about. The most important area for an opponent is your triangle because you take away their main source of farm. So if we can run up them and kill them there, then that's a big advantage. And you have to maximize your advantages versus the other team's advantages.
Yes.
Coach, we did it.
Nice.
I got it.
By the way,
Coach,
next week we're doing the live session where we're going to attempt to do me coaching you in the middle of a game. And we're going to treat it as a practical final exam to see what Eri, how far you've come during the last 4 or 5 weeks.
This is our final exam. This is you're gonna coach. I'm gonna play with the team.
So I'm the teacher here giving you your notes for the practical exam. What I am only going to be saying during the game, I will never tell you, push this button now. What I will tell you is, you're strong enough to go kill somebody. Your next objective is mid-tower, set up for it. You just killed somebody, you're low on mana. I'll tell you things that you're supposed to be thinking about during the game.
Okay.
And so my goal will be to combine what you've learned, because you're now you're teachable, right? Like now you understand what I view as important. And then in the game, give you a quick reminder, a gentle push saying this is BSJ's inner voice, guiding you. This is where you're supposed to. You're going to nurture my triggers. On things you already know. Yes, exactly. I'm conditioning you on your triggers. That's basically what it'll be.
Banana slam giant.
So, Coach, I'm at this place where, I'm seeing the value of pushing lanes. I'm always looking at the creep waves. I find that that's something I do now. I'm like, where's the creep wave? Where's the creep wave? Where's the creep wave? And there's a lot more structure, and I just feel that I know what I need to do at certain points of the game more so than I did it. I mean, at my level, at least. But there are some cases where I don't know if I should push the lane or join the team fight right away. That's something that I'm kind of like wondering.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a team fight I'm supposed to TP and help to, or is it a lost cause? I don't know. I'm coming to that place is like, should I join this team fight right now, or should I push this lane first and then team fight? And there have been some instances where I think me being there would have helped for sure. So it's kind of like that. That's my situation. I'm like, all right. Should I have TP'd right away and not push this lane because maybe I could have made an impact? So that's my one situation. Should I TP or should I just keep pushing this lane first? There are some cores in, especially when I solo, is like, no, we're gonna play bottom. And I know you said if they choose to play bottom, then you just have to accept that you're gonna be playing at the wrong side of the map. And you're gonna take harder fights, but that's just what you need to do. If they're gonna, let's say we were Radiant, right? We needed to push top, but our Ricky wanted to push bottom, so I'm just like, our Zeus wanted to push bottom, so I'm just like, I was trying to push top because I knew that was, but they weren't listening. So based on our lessons, you basically said that I should just push mid or bottom in that case, right? Because one of us is gonna die if we're
depends on what point in the game you're talking about. If you're talking like 25 minutes in, yes. If you're talking like 12 minutes in, no, you just let them do that and you play the right side of the map. It's the thing is like eventually people are so strong that if you guys split, you're just gonna feed. But like I'd say somewhere between 15 to 20 that transition happens. It kind of, like,
where we just have to stick.
Where you do have to play 2 lanes. You do have to, at that point, just accept, like, if my teammate's playing the wrong side of the map, I'm going to join them. But prior to that, you should actually play away from your team if they're playing it correctly. When it comes to showing up to fights, I actually mentioned it briefly last week when I was talking about my game as the Crystal Maiden. And it really boils down to, like, how much you're getting done during the fight. So, like, if you're a Shadow Shaman, and if you push one wave, and you can ward that tier 1 and kill it during the fight, or ward a tier 2 and kill it before the fight, or during the fight, excuse me, then maybe it's better that you just don't show up to the fight. But because what you're doing outside of the fight is like really impactful. Like something you're getting a lot done. But like if what you're doing outside of the fight is just maybe clearing one wave and that's it and that's all it's going to do, that should make you like more likely to show up to the fight. Now, if you're like a support, like what I said in my game, to tell you what I said, and you may have not caught it as like talking about this, was like I pushed a wave and then a fight broke out and I'm like, I don't really know what's going on here. I don't think this is a good fight. It was underneath my tier 2 bottom on Radiant. But
yeah, I remember this.
There's nothing else for me to do right now, so I'm just going to show up. And I just showed up and died. Like, I just showed up and fed. Mm-hmm. But for me as a support player, when I'm in those type of situations, there's literally nothing that I could accomplish as a CM when I'm just, like, clearing a wave that's better than potentially helping a core, like, even if I'm likely to just die. The thing is, though, that the 2 times that you really have to hesitate to show up to fights is the one thing where you're really doing something impactful, meaning you are the Shadow Shaman clearing a tower. The other one is where you're like level 5 at 14 minutes, and you're just a useless piece of shit. That's like the other times that I get really upset with my supports for continuously showing up to a fight. Because
like, what are you?
I'm like, can my disruptor just get level 6 while all this shit's going on so that the next fight he's actually impactful rather than trying to show up to the fight at level 5, at 14 minutes into the game? I think that's a lot of things that supports do. That concept can apply, like, if you show up to a 4-man push, you have to ask yourself, would my team rather me be there if I'm level 3? Or would they rather me just, like, defend my mid tower soaking XP? So it's like, it's either if you're really impactful outside of the fight or really unimpactful in the fight. Like, one of those two can make it so you're heavily dissuaded from actually going to a fight. But if neither, like, if you feel like you could help and you feel like what you're doing on the map doesn't really do much, then as a support, I kind of just go. Even if it's not going to work,
you just, at least maybe you could help swing, get a kill, and get a pick off, and that could have ended up winning the fight for you guys.
As a poker player, I talk about expected value, like they call it EV. So it's just like, I think of the EV of the play. It's like, if my EV of not going to the fight is just not much, then going to the fight can't really be worse. Like, it can't be much worse. So,
I got you. Okay, that's a good thing to do. I'm definitely going to write that down for sure. That is a good one. So, but in this, so basically, based on my pool, I have CM, Shaman, Jakiro, Pugna. I haven't even played Pugna. I'm just focusing on these 3. It's just these 3, and I can see how Pugna is a bit complicated compared to harder. Shaman. He's a bit hard. I'm just like, maybe not Pugna right now. So I'm just focusing on Shaman, CM, and Jakiro. So basically, these sort of decisions will come more for Shaman. Jakiro maybe not even as much, because you can't really kill a tower so much. Not as fast as a Shaman with Jakiro, correct?
Yeah, the thing is, it's like, that's actually good for you to start thinking about. You are correct. But like every hero you add to your pool, it's like, if my hero doesn't clear waves or it doesn't push towers, I'm probably going to be at every single fight. Like, that's just like... Why would a Bane not be at a fight, right? Because during the time the fight's going on, what is he, right-clicking a range creep? So that...
1 second, guys.
Yeah, I'll be done with this creep wave 20 seconds from now. Wait for me, But the thing is, it's like... Wait. That can apply to every position, too, right? If you're a hero in general that doesn't clear waves and doesn't threaten objectives, you're probably supposed to be at more fights than the heroes that do. So... just based off the logic that what you're accomplishing on the map while the fight goes on is not impactful. The only exceptions is when you're like a really hard farming carry that's like going for Battle Fury or something, they don't clear waves now, but maybe they'll clear waves in a second. But as a support, you usually don't ever buy items that help you clear waves faster. It's usually just your spells, right? It's usually just whatever nukes you're given innately. Yes. A Bane never clears waves. I've seen people buy Necrobook on pretty much every hero in the game of Dota this patch. So, I've literally talked about today. I'm like, I was trying my all-hero challenge, and I was playing mid Slardar, and I'm like, this hero can't farm at all. Why don't I just buy a Necrobook? And then I just had like a 17-minute Ags Necrobook on Slardar. So I was like, well, Necrobook makes every hero a farmer, at least now.
For now, yeah. For now,
for the next 2 weeks.
Okay. Okay.
But
Yeah.
but the point is though that it's all about how fast your hero does stuff. So when it comes to like in your heroes, Shaman will do the most, Jakiro will do the second most, CM's definitely never killing a tower.
Yes, that's true.
just how
Okay.
that goes.
Well, at least that is very clear.
Yeah.
My other question, Coach, is, okay. So let's say I split push and I manage to take tier 2 top, and we're Radiant, right?
Yeah.
We got tier 2 top, but my team doesn't want to play around the area.
Yeah.
They that's what's happened.
Absolutely,
when you get
that happens in my games. Don't worry, continue though.
I'm just like, I'm pushing tier 2 top. We got it. And from my understanding, what we need to do is to ward their jungle so that my guys can farm there, correct?
Yeah.
But is that the most optimal thing to do? Is that the most strategically optimal thing to do when you manage to take the tier 2?
The most optimal thing to do in Dota in general is there's two approaches, okay? I know we talk about a lot of concepts on this stream, and it's funny because some of my viewers have said you're, like, overwhelmed, but I'm like, he seems to get it, so I'll just keep going until he eventually tells me, this is too much. But,
so far things have been good, man.
Yeah, so there's two options when you're ahead. The first option is, we're so fucking strong, we can just do whatever the hell we want. So in that case, you kind of just run at their triangle, because...
Yeah.
If you're so strong that you can do whatever you want, that means you just take the most precious area of the map away from the opponent. Like that's
which is the triangle.
Which is the triangle, right? Because it is the most. We talked about how defensive the triangle is. Like if they can't defend that, they can't defend anything other than maybe their base, like tier 3s.
Oh,
right?
Wait, this is important. Wait. Their most important area for an opponent is their triangle. And more than almost as much as their tier 3s, right?
Yeah, like in terms of difficulty of occupying it, it's like base, then triangle, then everything else. Like that's kind of the order of how much stronger you have to be to occupy an area. So when you're ahead, there's two options. There's one where I said you are so far ahead, if you run into 5 enemy heroes and you don't give a shit, then you take their triangle. So a lot of times in Pro Dota, we'll see like teams with like a 5k advantage at 12 minutes, and they'll just invade the opponent triangle and just say, hey, you're not farming anywhere. Like, you can't do anything. You can't touch us. We're just going to walk at you, and there's nothing you can do about it. But that's like why I tell people, yes, this dead lane concept and like the way you're supposed to play the map applies to most games, but there are exceptions. But the idea is most games, you're not that far ahead, right? You're not strong enough to do that. And even when you are strong enough to do that, it's not nearly as punishing to just play normally when you're that far ahead as it is to try to do that when you are not far enough ahead to do that. Do you see? Does that make sense? Like, if you try to do that and you're not strong enough, you kind of just throw the game.
You just feed.
Yeah,
because
you just die.
It's like a 5-man wipe. It's a 5-man wipe. You're just like, nope.
So that's why I usually tell people, like, you can kind of just follow the script for a while, because not until you're like 6, 7, 8k do you even have to worry about, like, really pushing the limits of what area of the map you can occupy. Because it's like, if you're strong enough to take the triangle, you're always strong enough to just camp Roche and take it. But not the other way around, right? It's not the other way around. So go ahead.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Coach. No. Kindly finish your thought first.
So my point that I was going to make is when you're really strong, I gave you, there are two situations. The first one is that you are strong enough to do whatever you want. The second one is that you are ahead and you want to control the map, but in that case, you want to have as many options of objectives as possible. And you want the opponent to have as few options as possible. So if you play bottom on Radiant, you're actually giving the opponent the threat on mid, which is always there, and the threat on Roche, and the threat on top tower. So you're actually giving them 3 objectives rather than 2. And for you, if you're Radiant and you're playing top, you are threatening mid tower, because you're pushing mid and top, right? So you're threatening the 2 lanes of towers, but you're also threatening Roche. So it's like, that gives you more objectives to threaten. So if you're all missing, what that does is it makes it really hard for the opponent to know what you're doing, because if you have top lane pushed in, mid lane pushed in, you could be invading their triangle. You could be, you know, pushing mid. You could be pushing top. You could be roshing. You could just be jungling, but they don't actually know. But if you're bottom
Okay.
and they see you 4-man push a tower, good players would just go kill Roche. Like, that's what they would do, because they're like, oh, we don't want to fight you right now. We'll just go take an objective that you're nowhere near. So Roche kind of gives that, like, reason to want to play there. On Dire, it's obviously a bit more complicated in the sense that you usually want to play bottom and mid, but you have to just be wary of Roche. Usually it's good to have a ward somewhere around mid that kind of sees mid and potentially the opponent going to Roche. Those are like the best wards when you're Dire, because that's why
you're
Dire,
too far.
yeah, you're just too far. That's why on Radiant, it's much more likely to have a 4-man push at the top tier 2. Like when you're Radiant killing the top tier 2, because you're also near Roche. But it's usually very uncommon for Dire at the highest levels to 4-man push a tier 2 bottom, because the opponent can just go kill Roche while you're doing that. So you're like using your advantage to trade a tier 2 for Roche, which is like not good, right? So I'm obviously just speaking my mind, or like kind of blabbering about things that come to mind immediately, but like I said, you're either so strong you just run into their triangle, or you present as many objective threats as possible, which means you play top and mid. On
if you're Radiant.
Yeah, and bottom and mid is Dire, but if you are strong enough on Dire, it's even more important to abuse the triangle of Radiant, because that is where Roche is. So
because if we take their triangle, then we can just Roche when we get a pick off.
You are threatening top lane, mid lane, and Roche. So you're threatening 3 objectives rather than just 2, which is 50% more. that's a lot more.
And that's why Radiant has a higher win rate.
I personally believe it is, but obviously I can't prove that, really.
Yeah, okay. Let me write this down really quick, Coach, because my brain is a bit jello and I don't want to forget this.
For sure.
Because I have only slept. Guys, if you're wondering why, I played till 4 a.m. when I was not supposed to, because we had this coaching session the next day, but I wanted to get the W with rank. To show up to fights, if what you're doing provides more value, which is taking a tier 2 maybe, which is taking a tower pretty much, which provides more value, which in this only case it's taking a tower, right?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Which is taking a tower. But then showing up to fights, then that probably would be better. Would be better. But if all you can do is push a creep wave, or if you're just not strong enough, just useless piece of shit. Opos.
It gets the message across.
Yeah.
Am I a useless piece of shit if I show up to this fight? Trust
me, I mean, like, that guy, when you said, I'm just like, ooh, like, that's heavy-handed, but wait, it works, though. I always remember, useless piece of shit, not working, not today. Just useless piece of shit, then maybe it's better for you not to show up and get your ult, or get levels. Okay, I got that one. We're so strong we can just run at you. The most important area for an opponent is their triangle, because you take away their main farm.
Yeah.
Away their main farm. All right, Coach, I got this.
Okay. Are you ready to go into your game, or do you have any final questions before we do?
I think I'm ready to go into my game, sir.
Okay, cool. Go ahead and give me the... Oh, wait, I need to... 1 second. I'm going to go quickly onto my main account. I actually forgot about this. Because I am only friends with you on that one, so 1 second here.
What's your name for the other account?
Cavern Crawler. Same picture.
Cavern Crawler. I like it.
Yeah, I was gonna do Cavern Crawl, and then I've started doing the All Hero Challenge. But when I first picked some terrible hero, and my name is Cavern Crawler, my teammates, that's like a pretty good summation of like why I'm doing what I'm doing, right? So I'm like that actually worked out pretty well. Let's see here. So we got okay. I'll be on in a second here.
Yeah, I'm also turning on my Dota. Yeah, is the client better now? Is it fixed?
I haven't been having any issues the last couple days, but I do have like random people in my games DCing and stuff. So,
dude, we've been like all night. Couldn't even do a ranked game. It was just like
Okay,
some
it's
guy even
definitely
had a
never been
proper
that
streak.
bad for me. That's definitely not been
Wow.
the case.
Okay, so
I don't know if anybody
gonna
else at
look
home
at-
has this issue, but when I have Dota on full screen, it takes me like 3 times to load it. I don't know why. It's doing
That's weird.
Because what happens is it loads and then it's like when you tab out of Dota, like in general, when you tab out of Dota, it goes down, and I just can't retrieve it. Like I actually just can't get back into Dota afterwards. It's very strange. People will tell me to use borderless windowed, but my FPS goes up by like 30 when I'm on full screen. So I kind of I go from like a 90 to 120 FPS using full screen. So borderless window not an option. Okay, so I'm going to pull up your game history here. You're on Dota now?
Yeah, I'm looking at which one was that one? Oh yeah, this is the one I think. Is this that's the Terrorblade one.
Which
that
one's
was actually
the Terrorblade
close.
one? This one? That one?
This is the third loss from the third. Wait, this is the one before the Shaman win. The Shaman lost before the Shaman win.
So
right
this
on top.
one right
that one. That
okay.
one.
And this is the one you want to watch today?
This is the one what I want to figure out why we lost. But
okay.
And the last one was like pretty much and this was a solo queue, I think.
Okay.
This
you can tell if it's solo queue because it has like little dash marks around your name where if like you're in a party it'll have one dash mark for the 2 people in a party, it'll have 2 dash marks for the other people.
I did not know that,
so
Coach.
So just pay attention for that next time you're in a party queue, you'll see it. Okay, so
this one we were playing pretty okay. I had a Monkey King. We had a pretty decent lane. And the solo queue that they were very happy with. The one after that was another solo queue that they were really happy with. I was playing. It felt really nice to be able to direct my team with objectives. Coach, they called me pro support.
Yeah, you told me that, man. You told me.
At Guardian level, I was just like, I know that doesn't mean much to like higher levels, but to see, to be able to help a team, at my level, sometimes you just don't really know what you need to do. I was telling them when to push. I was telling them when to get the creep wave. I was asking them, guys, let's go Roche. Wait, let's smoke first. Let's do this. And it felt really nice, and they were listening. It was a very nice environment, and it was nice to see them like really happy.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start the game with presenting you with a whole nother concept. So this is the delve into lane matchups at a basic level, but the concept is kind of advanced. So what do you know about Timbersaw?
Timbersaw is tanky as hell.
Why?
I don't know.
You actually do you know what any of his skills do?
I know. Oh wait, no, I know he has that thing where the smoke comes out of him. He has like his little, where his get over here scorpion thing, but it's him pulling him.
Okay.
He has the spinner, right? The blender.
His ult is a spinner thing. So what makes Timbersaw tanky is this spell. Let's go ahead and read it, okay? And each time Timbersaw is attacked, he gains increased health regen and armor. And it stacks.
Wow.
So look at the stack numbers. Max stack. Look at the max stack numbers. Do you see them?
I'm looking at them right now. I had to shift my wait.
Yeah,
there
it
is.
fine.
I'm looking at. I can see it a little bit. Yes. Stack 10, 11, 16, and 19.
No. The stack duration is 10, 13, 16, and 19. The stack number is 6, 12, 18, 24.
Okay,
so
6, 12, 18,
every stack he basically gets 1 armor and 1 HP regen. It's like a bit off, but he basically gets 1 of each. Okay? So every time you attack him, he gets armor and HP regen. The big deal about this is that from level 1 of this ability, which has 6 stacks, to level 2, which has 12, he basically gets like 10 times tankier by getting level 2 of this spell than he does level 1.
Yes.
So what that means is this hero is there's like a lot of heroes in the Dota, I'd say at least 20 to 30 that are like this, but his power spike is insane at level 3. because he gets a second point in his reactive armor. Another hero that's like this is Bristleback, because his quills like double in damage from level 1 to 2, so level 3 he gets way more powerful. There's just a lot of heroes in Dota whose like lane defining skill is like way better level 2 than it is level 1. So those are the heroes that are way better at level 3. So if my question is, if a hero's really good at level 3, how do you have to lane against this hero?
If they're really good at level 3, Coach, this is not a question I can answer right now.
So if they're really powerful at level 3, what does that usually mean for them level 1 and 2?
They're not very strong 1
So
and 2.
what do you have to do in lane if they're not very strong level 1 and 2, but they're really strong level 3?
Keep killing them.
Kill them, harass them. Let's not say kill them. People way misinterpret that idea. You have to punish them for being weak. Like, you just have to punish them. So here's how Dota works. If you can't punish them by level 3, and that guy gets level 3, and I tell you he's really strong, what does that tell you now? Like, he's level 3. Say he gets level 3 before your Monkey King does. That means he's ahead, right? He got through the stage of being weak, and now that he's strong, he's also ahead. Yes. What does that mean for you?
We have to play a little bit safer, I guess.
You're basically pulling and the lane's over.
Yeah.
That's basically what that means. So Timbersaw is a very noob punishing hero, because if you let him get to level 3 without being aggressive, most supports kind of like, they'll get level 3 or 4, and they'll say, let's go on the guy. Like, that's kind of how they just think about Dota. And Timbersaw, if he's like level 3 or 5, he's just non-killable at that point. Most of the time. He's like, he's just unkillable.
Laning stage.
Yeah, laning stage is pretty much unkillable. Very few matchups where he's not. And he has to be behind. He has to be against, like, Ursa and losing. Like, that's, like, the only time he's killable. So Timbersaw is this hero that's, like, really punishable level 1 and 2, and then requires a 4-man gank at, like, 12 minutes into the game. And that's pretty much the only way to deal with this hero. Like, so that's why, you know, he's noob punishing. But the point is, I want you to think about how, like, I'm bringing Timbersaw as a type of hero such that when he's level 3, you kind of just fuck off. Like, very few exceptions. Like, there are a few, but so the point is, with Monkey King, he's really strong. Not really strong. He's pretty strong level 1 as well. But if you're trying to commit to Timbersaw level 1, oftentimes when you do a lot of damage to somebody, what's happening to you?
Wait, if
you're heavily trading with somebody and you're like trying to bully them, what's usually happening to you too?
Oh, they're getting at me too, man.
Okay, so what starting item would help with that? You're both taking a shit ton of damage, and then you break apart.
We're both taking a
you trade really heavily, and then you back off because everyone has no health.
Either buckler or headrest.
How about a salve?
Huh? Oh.
Because you take a shit ton of damage, and then you back off, right?
Oh.
So in lanes where I feel like I have to punish them level 1, I will always have a salve. I will always salve. I will always buy a salve in any lane like that, because
shit. Okay,
and if you're a support, you can actually buy a salve for your carry hero too. So
yes, that's what I'm doing.
So
I do that.
What I'm saying is you have to start with it though. So like in this game, I would like the perfect item build would be 1 tango, salve, everything else the same, and then your first item you throw yourself is another set of tangos. Like that would be what I would do in this lane. The point is to buy that salve, do you realize how much understanding of Dota was required to buy that salve?
Yes, a lot.
Okay. So
when you said salve, I'm just like, you have to go at him, get back, regen, and then go at him again. But that exchange in itself will give you a chance to maybe snowball and maybe get a pick off. Then you can just rinse and repeat, maybe something.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what salve is for. I didn't learn that until I was 7.5k MMR. So,
are you serious?
Yes, I did not get taught that lesson until I was 7.5k. So, to be clear to everyone, these are things that I deem very advanced, but I do believe are teachable. So, like to anybody.
Yes.
And that's what I've tried to make out of this session or this series with you after how we've kind of approached things so far. So basically, what I'm telling you about matchups right now is to start having a general plan of power spikes. I want you to start paying attention. I don't expect you to know this shit going in.
Yeah.
But it's eventually like lane winning shit. Like if you know this stuff and your 2K, 3K opponents don't know it, like you're just going to win lanes because they have no idea. So that's why I want to bring it to your attention now.
Yeah, this is the next one.
So
the next
you'll
level.
start paying attention to it. This isn't something that I'm like, he's going to get by next week. You know, it's something where when you've lost a lane, maybe read the opponent's skills and be like, wow, this hero, like, you know, what skills did he level in what order and like, how's the scaling of these abilities? It'll start like understanding matchups for you. So, and then obviously the next week, if you felt like you didn't know how to lane a lane, I could talk to you about it. Because if you thought to yourself, you know, this was how I thought I was supposed to play the lane, and then it went terribly, you know, BSJ, why is this matchup bad? Or how did I approach this matchup poorly? And I can explain to you a general reason that applies to that example that would hopefully expand your knowledge of matchups. That's like the goal. So
that's a long road.
What I'm saying is it is a long road, but if you were to come to me like every week with like a 10-minute like, hey, this was a bad lane, like that's something that I think can be worked on with what you that's kind of the next step for you. And it's a very long road. I want to be clear to everyone, but you kind of just have to start, I think. So it's just like when you buy your starting items, you're telling me your general game plan about the lane. And if you start really thinking about it, that's like the matchup part of it's the crazy part where like the knowledge required is I can just tell you when I have the perfect starting items based on my perfect understanding of the lane, man, the lane just goes seamlessly.
So well.
It's crazy.
Really?
Like day and night, you know? Like I had a game where I got hard countered and I'm like, I think I have a plan for doing okay in this lane. And I went even, like in a hard countered lane. I was like, wow, like, you know, that's cool.
That's something.
It feels good.
That's kind of exciting. That's exciting to think about. Because honestly, Coach, what I've been focusing on is just the movement, the part I know where it's like you have to think of starting items and all of these things. I haven't done it so much.
Yeah.
Oh, did we kill him here?
You probably did. Timbersaw level 1 thinks he's stronger than he is. That's often a problem with playing Timbersaw.
I love that. At my level, for sure.
Yeah. Trust me, you see that at my bracket, so if you see it at my bracket, you'll 100% see it at yours. I do that. I've done that before. Timbersaw gives people this kind of strongman syndrome that backfires usually.
He's a Chihuahua at level 1 and 2, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. Oh man, I know I'm a little bit more into the game now when I'm watching my own replays. I'm like, get him. When you're watching your replays, it's a different perspective because you're not playing. You're just like seeing you're looking at it from the outside, and it's just super valuable. But that's what I need to learn as well, the replays. But you pause because we're gonna make an important point.
Yeah. So, what I want to get at is that in a lot of matchup this matters, so you can almost always assume it does. But in this matchup, even more so because of what I've already said. Your carry needs to get level 3 before the opponent gets level 3. So
that's the goal.
That's the goal. That's like day and night difference between how the lane's going to go if your carry gets level 3 before the offlaner. It really just will be a massive difference. So right when you return to lane, I'm going to ask you, like, I'm actually going to ask you right now, what are like the 2 most reliable ways for your carry to get more XP than the opponent off lane?
Killing them?
Okay, I would say that that's like a bonus because it's not reliably going to happen in most games.
Okay.
That is technically an answer, but like I'm talking about something that's kind of reliable to do every game.
Okay, every game that's gonna get if he gets more creep waves, or basically if I pull and the creep waves are more towards him,
Anyone
he has
here
a
know what
higher
dead
chance
plane
of
is?
getting last hits.
Simply put,
one.
you pull so he gets solo XP, or you get more denies
Yes.
than them.
Okay.
That's the only way.
Okay.
Like, those are the only two ways your carry is going to get more XP. You get more denies, or you pull, so he gets solo XP.
I rarely deny. Denies is not something I'm doing right now. I'll be honest, Coach.
I'm going to tell you right now, why is Shaman one of the best heroes in Dota as a support to practice denying, especially in your bracket, but why?
Because he has really high attack.
He has really high base damage, really high.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm hitting like a carry. Am I really a support?
Yeah, 74 damage, man. That's like the most of any ranged support in the entire game, like by a large margin. So,
like, are you a carry that failed and decided to just focus on supporting? I mean, I'm just saying his attacks is like crazy.
So yeah, you were zoning this Wind Ranger and you returned to lane. So this is something I've tried to get you in the habit of. But what's the lane doing right now as you show up? You've now shown up to the creep. You've shown up to this creep wave. You haven't been here yet, but now you're here. What's the lane doing?
The lane is pushing. There's only one creep.
Okay, so it's 57 seconds in. Do you think as a level 1 hero you're more powerful at denying or just walking over and pulling?
At a level 1 hero, I am more powerful at denying at this point.
False.
Wait,
okay, so, like false. Basically what I'm saying is the deny option works if the lane's right here. Period.
Oh.
The deny option works here.
Oh no, because we're more forward.
Yeah.
I was like thinking because there are only two. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So
okay.
yeah, sorry.
Because we were stronger than Timbersaw.
The cool thing about this is if I tell you you're stronger, the lane's here, you go for denies. The lane's push, you go pull. That's like it's just all there is to it, because there's only two options to gain XP on this guy. More XP than him.
Yeah.
So like the minute I see this, I'd be like, okay, dude, I'm pulling. See you later. Because not only is Timbersaw weak in the sense that you can punish him, but if you leave, he doesn't punish your carry.
If I leave, yes, okay, yeah.
Like that goes hand in hand. If he's weak in the sense that you can't punish, or that you can punish him, he also can't punish you. So that means pulling. That means your carry can live without you.
So just with this matchup, the first 5 minutes is just so crucial.
Absolutely, absolutely, game deciding.
We gotta get this dude not to go, because then he'll snowball and it'll compound, and this level 3 guy that you can't kill is just gonna make an overall effect to his team compared to if my guy got level 3 first.
Timbersaw basically becomes permanent food or unkillable. Those are like, there's really nowhere in between for Timbersaw. Like, you can either kill him through his third spell, or you can't. And he either dies instantly, or he doesn't die at all. Like, that's pretty much Timbersaw. Yeah?
I have a question. Why does he become unkillable towards the rest of the game? If we really are that much ahead, we can just kill him.
What I'm saying is, if you're ahead, it takes few enough instances of damage where he doesn't get armor stacks, and then he just dies. But if if you're required to hit him like 30 times in order to kill him, Timbersaw is like the best hero in the game to like get bursted and live with like 100 health. Like actually the best hero in the game, because at that point he's got 30 extra armor and 30 extra health regen. So unless you just hit like a truck, you're not killing him when he's low health. Do you see what I'm saying? But with Monkey King, say Monkey King's like a level or two ahead, he can get Jingu stacks, which gives him like an extra 100 damage, and then he can crit the guy with his first spell and suddenly burst him for like 400 damage. So it's like, with this matchup, Monkey King's either killing him nonstop or just never killing him at all. That's kind of that's this matchup. Yeah. So
and for the rest of the game, because everyone is stronger, at least a decent amount of our players are stronger. It'll take less hits for him to die. So
yeah, Timbersaw falls off like a rock. Yeah, Timbersaw falls off like an absolute.
That's what I wanted to understand. I'm like, wait, doesn't he get level 3 eventually? No, but we're stronger.
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to tell you, another quick mechanic. This is gonna be quick, not nearly as long as that last discussion.
Sure.
You should go ahead. I want you to check the setting in case you haven't. You go into your settings. Let me see it. Options. Holding Alt shows tower attack range.
Yes, I have that.
Okay.
I have that.
So really get in the habit of using Alt. If you don't use the key, just know that you can go to Alt modifier right here.
Yes. And
make it whatever key you want it to be. So I use F.
Oh.
So like I hate where the position of Alt is on the keyboard. I personally don't use it. I love using F for it. So for you, it can be literally anything.
F. No, that elf works because I mean I don't use F. That's just for certain.
It's the
heroes.
5th ability on most heroes, or like on like 5 heroes in the game, and you can actually like usually fix it with almost every hero. That like meaning like you can use some other ability with it.
Oh.
Yeah.
That feels good.
F's in chat. Just so you know, like every hotkey for me that says Alt plus something is just F plus something. It's not actually Alt.
So Alt modifier basically is just like, okay.
It replaces Alt. Yeah. You can use it with like you can use like keyboard macros to do that shit, but like you can just do it in Dota now. So okay. So my point though is every time you're close to a tower, like you're harassing a guy, you should push Alt right now. And what that'll do is, you know, if we super slow-mo this, and you push Alt, you're not going to walk past this little red line right here. You're going to stop right here. You're going to stop right there, and then you're not going to tank 2 tower shots.
Oh, freaking A, that makes
so
much
it's a great
sense.
habit whenever you're going near a tower, especially in lane, like this is usually in lane,
even thought of that.
to just push Alt, see the range, and then skirt around it. So I think it's actually a really important lane skill to just avoid randomly tanking 2 or 3 tower shots every now and then. Right?
I don't freaking do that, dude.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Little fundamental thing you can get in the habit of. Yeah.
No, hell, freaking yeah, man. For sure, I'm gonna do that. Oh my god.
Dota's pretty
Yeah, it is.
So you do go pull. It was late, but better late than never. Notice how tanky Timbersaw is now. He's pretty much always going to be full. Notice how Salve would have been nice.
Yes, Salve would have been nice.
So don't be a useless piece of shit. Oh, you're being a useless piece of shit right now, Eri.
What did I do? What did I do?
It's 3:15 and you're too low a health to lane.
I was not looking. Oh, yes. I was not looking around. Yes, sir.
Yes.
This is not one of. This is honestly,
not a highlight, Eri.
No. This is not. This is not my best laning. If you want to see my best laning, check out my last one. I know my laning isn't as good here.
Okay.
This is just me wanting to understand why we lost.
Hey, I know. I'm just calling you out on it, but like.
I got you. But yes, I understand this is not my best laning because I wasn't as thing there. But yes. Didn't I? Yeah, as on point. But if I'm gonna show you my best laning, I'm gonna show my most recent game or maybe a game before that.
Honestly, I believe that you can. I'm just gonna remind you how important it is every time, and if as long as you're aware, there's really no point in talking about it. You know, obviously for the viewers though, I kind of just want to be like, come on, you know.
Yeah, I got you. I'm being. I see it. I know.
Okay, so let's see. Let's just assess the situation. Your Timbersaw, enemy Timbersaw is level 4. Your Monkey King is almost level 5. So you guys are kind of winning top.
I think, did we win this? Oh, wait, don't die, my man. Don't die, my man. Okay. All right, he's alive. Okay.
I would strongly consider salving him right there.
I thought he was a little bit... Oh, it's really? Still...
You're allowed to salve your carry at any moment you want.
Okay. But if you get attacked by them, right? The salve cancels, correct?
Yeah, so you should tell him, hey man, you want to salve, and then you back off. If he doesn't, then you just be like, I guess you don't want it, you know?
Yeah, okay.
So you salve yourself now, I assume.
No, I'm saving it for him, I think.
So that's an example where, since your Monkey King's a level ahead, he actually was strong enough to kill the Timbersaw. Monkey King being one of the few heroes that actually can kill Timbersaw.
Why can he kill Timbersaw?
Because of
his skills?
Because of this skill.
The 3 hits.
The 4 hits, now he gets 120 bonus damage. It's basically heroes that either do a huge amount of damage and a small amount of attacks, or heroes with like some ridiculous, like Ursa with Fury Swipes, or Slark with Essence Shift. You know, like because they hit you more times, they're now doing more damage. Those are OD. Those are like the only heroes that can really kill Timbersaw around this stage. Every other hero pretty much doesn't want you around them. So the way I approach Timbersaw, by the way, these really beefy guys. Usually it's like the beefy offlaners with no stuns. So it's like Timbersaw, Bristleback, Underlord. As a support, I pretty much only gank them. I'm never harassing them. I'm either pulling, I'm warding, I'm somewhere else. I usually in these lanes like to give a ward to my carry because I don't like to be in lane very often against these type of heroes. Because they're kind of heroes, all of those heroes that don't have stuns, usually they like trade really well. Usually their point, since they don't have a stun, is that they have like good sustain. And so you either all in kill them or kind of just leave them alone. Like that's your two choices. So just something to think about. It's pretty much all the offlaners without a stun. It's like Necrophos, Venomancer, you know, Timbersaw, you know, it's like all these heroes that have like a natural way of winning trades, but no stun.
They're balanced. You gotta balance them out.
Yeah, exactly.
If they hit like a tank, they hit like a freaking tank, but you know, and a stun, you're just like, okay.
Yeah, that would just be too much. Yeah, and so with you,
that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. No, I like what you did there because I mean, coming from someone my level, to be able to assess a hero's strengths or weaknesses. Well, he doesn't have a stun yet. Did we kill him here?
Like I said, you either 4-man gank this hero or he doesn't die. That's pretty much... Like, he usually will die to a 4-man gank. He usually will. But not always. If it's like a perfect 10th pick Timbersaw where there's like no way to kill him, then that's different. But you guys do have Monkey King, and even Storm's pretty decent because he's a lot of magic damage. I'm watching Monkey King's perspective, but I'm gonna rewind because that was your perspective basically. But we're gonna rewind here. So you're actually let's rewind. I was busy talking to you. Sorry about that. We're gonna fast forward through this last bit here. You pull. We do this whole kill on Timbersaw. Okay.
Yes.
You did give him a lane ward, so that's good.
I did.
Okay. So you're actually laning another. You're placing another ward.
A dominating performance.
Okay.
Did I place another?
All this, nothing wrong here. So you get a kill, and you... It's a bit late, actually, but you do TP mid. I think that's reasonable. Maybe ask your Storm to go jungle if he just doesn't want to. That's, you know, that's life. I think that's a big step up from last time, though. You got the kill. About 5 seconds later, you TP mid. That was pretty good.
I did, coach. I did, coach. There was an item I didn't get. I didn't even see that item.
Yeah, and it's not something I expect you to be looking for, necessarily.
Yeah, that's true. Could be an item.
Yeah, hey, I'm going to look for the opponent leaving neutrals on the ground, you know? That's,
yeah, you'd never know. They could be idiots, and they think it's a box. Yeah.
So, I talked about after kills, you know?
What do you do after kills?
Like, what after kills and stuff, like, you know, you did that really well. So now you TP'd and you nuked to get farm. What does that mean? You just TP'd and you nuked to get farm.
I just TP'd and I nuked to get farm. We pushed to the waves.
What does that mean for you, though? Let's look at your status here. You just TP'd and nuked a wave.
I just TP'd and nuke a wave. My mana's low.
You have absolutely no mana. So this is another classic Eri.
I forgot to buy.
Without clarities, you're a useless piece of shit.
I got you. I got it, coach.
So that's like something... It's another trigger when you get that brief moment of farm. This was really good, right? You got that one extra creep wave of farm and XP. Yeah. Remember now, if you're going to like nuke creeps and TP to them, it's going to cost you a lot of mana.
I need a mana. Yeah. So I should basically, like, if I'm going to think of, okay, we're about to kill this guy, I definitely should get some clarities. Or like, I just have clarities all the time, basically.
I would say your two options are either have 2 clarities already being flown to yourself, or if you're sitting with 180 mana, you are literally not allowed to hit these creeps with your nukes. Like, you're not allowed to nuke them. So I want you to think to yourself, if you have absolutely no mana, you are a useless piece of shit. So you are not allowed to be an absolute useless piece of shit. So your choice...
I should expend my mana?
Yeah, so because you don't have clarities, you have left yourself with either flying your... or like having clarities or not using your spell. So for not having clarities, your punishment is not getting to use spells. Like, that is your punishment. You should punish yourself. Like, you should. Like, in a way that it's like, it's actually worse. So what I'm saying is, because you are inefficient, rather than remaining efficient but having no mana, I want you to be inefficient but have mana. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah, this is a lesson, because I'm just like, before I was just like prioritizing, I'm gonna push the hell, I'm gonna push this crease wave, I don't care if I get 0 mana.
Yes, so the point now is, I'm fine with you having the mentality that pushing creep waves is really important, but the next step of that is to be efficient in the sense that you
Doing
have to
it.
also be useful in the game, right? Like you can't just push waves. You have to also be useful.
Efficient doing. So we're at the next level of this
yes.
now.
So this is like a natural mistake. I'm not like saying, "Wow, you're so bad," you shouldn't do this. Like this is
I get it. No,
this
it's
is
just-
the result of like what I try to tell people in coaching sessions where it's like once you're doing the
Ready.
right thing, we can then move on to the next step of like how you could do that right thing
Yes.
better.
Yes.
Right? So that's this
Yes.
example here. And so as a core you sometimes have to make this decision, but even more on a support because you have less items. Sometimes you just can't use spells to clear waves. Like if I'm a Spectre and I know I need to haunt, I can't use and I'm like half mana, I can't use my dagger to farm. Like I can't farm with my ability because I know I need my mana to do something else. I'm just giving you a core example of the exact same thing you're doing. Do you see what I'm saying?
I get you, Coach. Coach, I have a question.
Yeah.
Like, let's say I'm able to push this wave, and my mana's like gone.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages of having no mana but being able to push that wave anyway? Let's say we managed to push that wave. Like, I just want to understand. Like, all right, the consequences area of having no mana for this amount of time are far more heavy than you being able to push that wave and your creeps going forward.
Okay, so here's a great example. So 15 minutes into the game, what's your highest impact as a hero?
15 minutes
this
into
hero.
the game. On this hero, pushing towers.
With swords, right?
Yes.
So we've talked about this before, let's see if you get the right answer. While you are not looking to push towers, what are you worried about the opponent doing?
Oh, wait. While I'm not looking to push towers?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Can you say that again, Coach? Sorry.
So if your team is not looking to push towers at this given moment, what are you trying to avoid the opponent team doing?
Either pushing towers or
Exactly.
either ganking us.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
No, it's really that simple. Like if you're not looking for an objective, all you care about is the opponent not getting objectives. So
Yes.
what does pushing
Yes.
creep waves do?
Pushing creep waves takes their objectives away from us because they're focusing on preventing our objectives.
And they need creeps to get your objectives. Like they actually need
Yes.
the creeps there.
They need the creeps there. You're right.
The benefit
Because if
of
not,
pushing waves is you stall the opponent from doing something. Like that is
Yes, that's a
the
good-
benefit of it. So the times where it's really good to just spend all of your mana to push a creep wave is if you're a shaman with ult on 40-second cooldown. So say your ult's on 40-second cooldown and you spend all of your mana. What are you going to do immediately after?
Your ult is on 30-second cooldown and you spend all your... Say that again, Coach. Sorry. I'm a bit slow
no,
today.
No, you're fine. If you spend you say your ult's on a 40-second cooldown, that means you don't want to push, right? You don't want to push right now because you don't have your ult.
Yes, you got nothing.
But in
You got
40
nothing
seconds, you want to be able to push.
yet. Yes.
So if you nuke out the creep wave and use all of your mana, what are you then immediately doing if your ult's on a 40-second cooldown? Like you just pushed out the creep wave with all your mana.
I just push the creep with all my mana. Oh, and then I have a 40-second cooldown and no mana. So I have no mana and I'm on a 40-second cooldown.
Yeah.
Nothing.
You
I can't do
instantly
much.
go base and get all your mana back, and then by 40 seconds from now, you are full mana, full health with your ult.
Ah.
So the point is, your mana only matters when your hero is actually capable of doing something. So,
Yes.
like, if you're a hero with a long cooldown, you'll see a lot of pro players just, like, expending all their health and mana to push waves such that the opponent
TP.
doesn't push them, right? Then they TP base, they get all their health and mana, and then by the time their ult's off cooldown, they have full health and mana, and on the time they didn't have anything to do, they were pushing as many waves as possible. Like, that's what
an
they were doing.
option?
Yeah, that's
TP home and just...
yeah, so that's like, it's like this idea that there's a lot of heroes, there's like kind of two ways to farm in Dota. Heroes with long cooldowns, they usually like to use all of their health and mana while they don't have their cooldowns to push waves. Then they TP base and walk out with their full mana, full health, and cooldowns. And then heroes with low cooldowns, they usually prefer to play this like sustain game where they are consistently on the map, consistently regenning, like a Slark, for instance. You know, it's really important that he Or Pug, yeah, these type of heroes. They want to be consistently regenning, and that's because they're all low cooldown heroes, so they don't have these, like, on-off switches. Like, with Shaman, when you have 6, you're, like, your switch is on when you have your wards. You're looking to go do stuff. You're looking to go take a tower. But your switch is off when you don't. So, like, when your switch is off, what I mean by that is, like, you're not that impactful in comparison to other moments in the game. And in those moments, your best way to be impactful is to prevent the opponent from doing anything. And the best way to do that is to clear waves. Like, that's what clearing waves does for you.
Have mana doing it.
So, in this game, before you're level 6, you're kind of a stun. Like, that's what your hero is. So,
Yes.
my point being here is that if you're going to run around the map like you're doing, like you're posturing aggressively around the bounty runes, you are a stun, that's great. You have to have mana to do that. Like, whatever job you're doing, if it requires mana, I want that you to reflect that. Yeah, like, with your items. So it's like, I actually think what you're doing here, where you cleared mid-wave, you're playing aggressively, you're a stun, great. Like, I think that's all actually correct. But now your items and, you know, regen and, like, health and mana status have to reflect that, right? Like, it has to reflect your game plan. It's like, if I see you with 40-second ult cooldown, you spend all your mana and you go base and then walk out with full health of mana, I'll be like,
Great.
you know, like, wow, that's like some efficient shit right there. You know, that's the kind of, but, like, if I see somebody trying to be strong on the map with no mana, like, meaning you're posturing really aggressively, you're in the opponent's territory right now, and they have, like, half health or no mana, I'm kind of like,
What are you doing?
What is he doing?
So you're saying, okay, if I TP'd right after I pushed that wave just to get my mana back, you would have been saying, what the fuck, Eri?
Well,
like,
what I'm saying is you TP'd mid and nuked out, so you would have had to walk to base at that point.
I would have walked to, you're right.
So the beauty of it is I'm telling you your options. And so if your option is not to TP back to base and then walk out because you already TP'd, that's telling you that you either have to fly clarities out or you're a useless piece of shit. Like, those are your two options. Like, that's all you got. So that's, like, the beauty of, like, I'm telling you these other ways to play the game, and if they're just not options, like, you just can't do that, then you have to do it, like, some other way. You just have to do it, right? So, like,
seeing now with coaches, it's a lot of thinking ahead.
Absolutely. A ton of it is realizing if I want to do this, it's going to have taken me a lot of mana, and by the time I'm done with it, I have to already have been ready to have used all that mana. Meaning, like, if I plan to TP mid and spend mana on it, I had to have already had clarities, you know, or whatever. Sometimes, like, when I'm pushing a tower with a catapult, I'll know I have to tank for my catapult to keep it alive. Like, I'm telling you an example from my perspective. And if I know I'm going to have to do that, sometimes I'll fly myself a salve at, like, 7 minutes into the game, preemptively, so that I can tank the tower and salve myself while I'm tanking the tower. Like, that's an example of, like, I know I want to push this tower. I know I'm going to have to tank for this catapult. I'm going to fly myself a salve, like, a minute ahead of time. That's, like, an example as a core player as something I can do. For you, as a support, your two options are this: to have foresight to know you have too much, you're going to need mana, so you fly yourself mana. Or two, realize that if you don't have that, you just can't use mana. Like, that's... So you can TP mid and maybe just right-click some creeps.
Yes.
And you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. Yeah, because I always just use my Q to, like, every time I'm queuing the creeps, man. It's Maiden and Shaman and Jakiro. I queue them every single time.
I come with the perspective on most things like this, where I want you to push your limits on efficiency and use your spells all the time, and be aggressive every time you think you can. Push a tower when you think you can. Because the only way to learn that you weren't supposed to is to do it and have it fail. That's the only way. So, like, what you can start paying attention to at a very basic level to self-correct is when I did this and used spells, I then didn't have mana. You know, it's like, oh, I guess I should have held my spells this time around.
I got you, bro. So if
Your approach is good, is what I'm basically saying.
yeah, it's just trying to be more efficient because if I have no mana, then I can't do anything else.
Yeah.
But here, coach, I don't really have my ult yet. So wouldn't having no mana is okay because I was able to push that creep wave in that case?
What I'm saying
was
though
right-
is your impact on the game is a stun though. Like you are a stun. So
I understand, coach. I understand. Yeah.
So
Okay.
like if you're gonna, you're basically saying I'm gonna play on my half of the map, nuking out creep waves, or
Yeah.
I'm gonna be aggressive. There's really no in between.
Yeah.
So if you are like level 5 and you desperately need level 6 as fast as possible, I would argue you could just nuke out all the waves, use as much mana as possible, get level 6, then go to base. The same idea as your ult being on cooldown. You're like, I'm not useful right now. I'm racing to get to that point where I am useful. In this case, like you're trying to get the levels you need to be useful. In the other case, you were just trying to be efficient during your downtime. Like that's like the kind of two different choices.
When I TP'd mid, I could have just right clicked because then I would have that mana, correct? I would have that mana, my expand, and then let's say since people are close, maybe I could be a useful stun for my team at one point, which is there.
This is a great smoke, by the way. The only inefficiency I think of is I wish you had more mana. Like, that's the only inefficiency I can think of. Like, I actually think that was a great play. We talked about your natural...
I called that.
I believe it. Your natural rotation is supposed to be this tower or mid tower.
Yeah.
Most of the time, it's this one. Most of the time, it's this one. And that's
it was
why,
always the safe lane thing.
Yes. And this call doesn't happen in my games by 6K support players. Like, this is great. I love to see this. This is... And the beauty of your bracket is this wasn't very fast, meaning it could have been done... Like, I'm talking in my bracket comparatively. It could have been done way faster. You could have had more mana, but you did the right thing. Like, since you're 1K, it's going to work if you just do the right thing. It doesn't have to be done perfectly, right? Like... You'll get better at it over time. You'll learn. Just like, I wish I had more mana. When I gank, I'll fly myself a couple mangoes. You did fly yourself some clarity, so that was actually pretty damn good. But I love it. Like, honestly, this is great to see. A 1K player, new player, smoke ganking the opponent's safe lane at 11 minutes and killing their tower. Like, that's like eons above anyone in your bracket. So that is awesome. So,
but we still lost this game, and that's why I wanted to kind of run. I wanted to understand why we did. That's the thing. This was the one where I'm like, why did we lose? And everything.
So what's my issue right now, right? What's my issue? Anna. You just took a massive engagement. You spent your wards. You stunned people. You nuked a creep wave. It's the same idea as killing someone in lane, right? You have to reset. You have to be as fast as possible. If it takes me 2 seconds, I expect it to take you 8, but I expect it to be done, right? Like, meaning it just has to be. It has to be your utmost priority, because what happens is when you are against superior late game, every second that you are not being optimal is just another second closer to them being stronger than you. That's just all it is. So
you always have to be doing something.
You just have to be as impactful as possible. If that impact is you buying arcane boots right now and going bottom and nuking it out and getting more levels so that by the time you have your ult again, you've pushed a bunch of creep waves, you're level 9 maybe, and you have an extra 2 points in Hex or Shackle or whatever. If that's the most impact you can have, great. Like, that's actually... fine. Like, meaning, if you don't think you're strong enough to fight right now, then if you're not strong enough to fight because you don't have wards, then do it as fast as possible. It's like, get in this habit of take a fight, take a tower. What I love about this is the habit you can get into. So you did the smoke. It was great. Something I talk about a lot with my 5K players is 6K players-ish, is that they've gotten, like, these, like, I kind of notice the trends, when I coach people, is a lot of times they'll have a decent idea of what they're supposed to do, and then they don't capitalize on it. That's a lot of the big deal around the 5K, 6K bracket. So they get the job done, but then what they like the rewards that they reap from the job well done are not good.
That's my question as well, because there were times where we got Roche, and there's all these situations where we got an objective. I got the tier 2 tower, but I didn't know what was the next optimal decision.
So
for
with
my
your
team.
hero right now, aren't you just right-clicking the tower?
Yes.
There's 2 heroes dead. Like, I'm just trying to tell you how much you can process, and it's not meant to be expecting you to process all this.
course.
This is what goes through my mind, for instance. This is like a rundown of my inner narrative. You just killed this guy, 2 people are dead, 2 people are mid right now, and the other guy missing is a support player. So, I don't care about anything right now. I'm just going to be right-clicking this tower. Like, I'm not concerned about my positioning. I'm not concerned about anything else. This is the time that I would take to just look at my health and mana and think to myself what I'm doing next. Like, what am I doing next? I just got a kill, I'm pushing the tower, and then at what moment can I just stop thinking about what I'm doing and think about what's next? Because go ahead.
I see what you're doing, Coach. Please keep going. Sorry.
Yes. So the beauty of that is, even in my bracket, this is a way to push efficiency, right? Like, meaning that you're effectively doing what you're supposed to be doing and you're thinking about what's next, right? So that's like a double whammy. But what happens is the negative side of this is if you think about what you're doing next and the opponent has like 4 heroes alive and they just come kill you because you're thinking about what you're doing next rather than thinking about your current positioning and all that kind of stuff.
It's kind of like
right?
learning to balance it properly.
So for me, what I'm telling you is the only downside of this is that you think about what you're doing next when it's too soon to think about what you're doing next, and you should be worried about what's happening right now. So every time you think whatever's being done right now is done, meaning like you don't have to think about it anymore, think about what's next. And the only way to learn how to like hone that efficiency is to get punished for it. Like, you're trying to be efficient and you get punished. It's the same way as you using your spells off cooldown and realizing sometimes I just don't have the mana. That was your punishment. Usually pushing efficiency and all that kind of stuff gets punished in some way if you're trying to be too efficient. Go ahead.
You're highlighting the windows on when to be able to think ahead.
Absolutely.
It's like, Eri, these are the windows of opportunity where you can think of ahead. These are the windows where you can start thinking of what you need to do next. Because if I'm doing it while I'm trying to harass, then that's a stupid time to like, oh, what should I be doing next? Oh wait, I'm dead, or like, you know, stuff like that, right? When you're basically, what I see as a support is when I manage to pull, or when I'm just there, you know, I can click away from the map, or you're giving me think ahead moments, think ahead checkpoints, or you know, these. So that's when pulling, it's a creep. When I manage to just right click, when I'm walking from one place to another, that's another window as well, right? Like,
absolutely.
Okay, I
when
need
you finish
to
the
travel
creep wave and you're walking to the next one.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh wait, okay, now I can think ahead. Okay, what do I need to do? Because it's like these 3 moments I think were good points. I'm just gonna focus on those 3. When I'm walking to the next point A to point B with no real threat, I'm gonna think ahead. When I'm just clicking a tower, I'm gonna think ahead. When I manage to pull a creep wave and I'm just farming a camp, I'm gonna think ahead.
Absolutely. That's the goal. Is I'm trying to get triggers for you to be like, okay, I don't have to worry necessarily about what I'm doing. This will push my efficiency. I apologize. I'm not like trying to cut you off. I just want to make sure we get to the point in the game where you.
Yes, please. Yes, of course. Yes. Yes.
Brief tidbit. 3 seconds. Catapults have 50% magic resistance. Do not nuke them.
Oh.
You just spent 160 mana to do 150 damage to this catapult. So, like, it's just not efficient. It's something.
So what should I do to?
Just either ignore them or click them. Like, that's the 2 choices. Yeah, you should really never nuke catapults.
Sometimes I hex them and attack them. I'm just so sorry.
Hey, I'm just giving you another example that you just spent 160 mana to do 150 damage to a catapult and you have no mana.
As CM, I found that if I W them, they die like really quickly.
Wing on CM's okay because it lasts for 10 seconds on creeps, so it's like a bit,
that's
different,
okay.
You know, because that still does, you know, 50% of a shit ton is still,
that's true.
You know, a decent amount.
So with CM, I can do it, right?
Yeah, with CM you can do it. So right now it was a bit of an awkward stage because you didn't have your ult. I say really the best thing you could do is maybe, like, honestly, get cute and sit in the trees pushing bottom. Like, you could have just been, like, right here trying to nuke this out. That's what, like, really good support players were doing. You were kind of just, like, wandering back and forth with no mana. Honestly, there wasn't a really obvious thing for you to do right there. So, you didn't really miss out on much. But I think you could have maybe been soaking XP bottom. Even if you weren't nuking it, you could just be near a creep that's dying.
Even if we didn't have vision on that area, Coach?
Yeah, if you're... Okay, just think about it. Like, if you're sitting in the trees and you die once, but you got 3 creep waves worth of farm and your ult was on cooldown, is that better than Is that better than getting nothing done?
That is better than.
I think I would rather get 3 creep waves of farm and die while my ult's on cooldown. If you do that while your ult's off cooldown, that is bad. Like,
that is the problem. Like, you're supposed to be pushing mid.
Yes, when your hero is useful and you feed, that is really bad. But if you're like trying to push efficiency when your hero is useless anyway, and the best case scenario is they just kill you, but you got like 4 creep waves, then like, who cares? But okay, so just think about it that way. Your value as a hero is like your death means much less if your hero is not useful when you die. Like, that is very important to think about. Okay. Quick point there, so making sure we get to the point of the game where we're at. So obviously we've talked about your next objective is mid. What did I tell you is absolutely necessary before you push mid almost every game?
Make sure that the creeps are pushed.
Which creeps?
The safe lane creeps.
The opponent's safe lane, right?
Yes.
Okay. Why is mid tower so hard to take right now?
Why is mid tower so hard to take right now? Wait, let me transfer my window. 1 second. Wait, I'm moving it to my front. There you go. Why is mid so hard to push? Because everyone's there.
Why are they all there?
Because the creeps are not a threat on the safe lane.
Exactly. It's all it is. Your next objective is mid. To get mid, you have to push bottom. So you're just not going to get mid if bottom's not pushed. It's just that simple. Like, we talked about the importance of pushing lanes, right? So it's like, we talked about it. I know it was a shit ton of information for you to process.
Yes.
I didn't expect you to process all of it. Let's be very clear about that.
Yes.
I'm honestly impressed so far with what you have processed, but it's just that simple. You want mid, you have to push this lane. Like, so if you're not doing it, it better be somebody else, right? So in this case, like, during the downtime,
we have to push tier 2 to be able. And that's why all these freaking arrows are so close. I'm like, why the fuck are you guys here?
Yeah, and if you don't push it, somebody else is going to. That's like and so sometimes that's like a pudge who maybe wants to be ganking or something like that. So why you couldn't push mid? You said they're all there. Why are they all there? Because you're not pushing bottom, and none of them are forced to defend it.
Yeah,
it's
like,
just
we
that
have time.
simple, right?
We have time to be here, Eri. That's why we're here.
So if you know your order of objectives, meaning like I talked to you about bottom tier 1, then your option is now mid tier 1 or bottom tier 2, right? That is your 2 lanes that we're pushing, right? So if you're using your ult to kill these towers, what should you do when your ult is on cooldown? Like, you don't have it, what should you do?
Well, I should make sure I have mana 1.
We're not worried so by the time your ult is up, you want the objective, right?
Yes.
So what should you do while your ult is down?
Set up for the objective.
In sense of pushing the lanes that need to be pushed, so that when you have your ability again, you can go use it. So
thinking ahead.
Yeah, you're the person that I see in my games all the time. 6K players do this, 7K players do it. So, like, just to be clear to everyone, I'm not just bashing you.
No, this is important.
Before you take an objective, certain things need to be done. On heroes with cooldowns, it's a great way to practice this. Like, it's a beautiful way to practice it, because when your ability's off cooldown, you want to go get the objective. So when it's on cooldown, you have to set it up, right? Like, that's what it is. Go ahead.
You know what's so great about this session, Coach?
Yeah.
I never really looked at my cooldowns as an opportunity to think about something, or like an opportunity to set up. I'm like, I always just look like, oh, my skills are cooldowns. But what you're saying now is like, listen, your hero has these specific amount of skills, especially their ults. When your ult is up, you can do this. When your ult is down, you can't do this. You're basically telling me how to play around my ult the best way.
Absolutely. Like, remember how I said don't be a useless piece of shit?
I got you, coach.
If your usefulness is determined by an ability, that should 100% affect your play, right? Like, that's what you've already gathered.
Sense.
And so notice how what you're doing right now, where you're pushing a lane that needed to be pushed, ideally that wouldn't be happening when your ult's already up. Like, that wouldn't be happening. Because you didn't do it when your ult was on cooldown, you now have to do it while your ult is up already. So this is just like an extra minute or two that the process of shutting them down, the process of taking their objectives has been delayed. So these late game heroes that we talked about, they have Medusa, Terrorblade, very late game heavy, just have an extra minute or two to get items. So if they're getting like 500-600 GPM, maybe at your bracket it's like 400 or 500.
Yes.
That's just another 1,000 gold towards another item that you've given them, right?
Okay. I'm seeing what I should have done, and maybe that would have changed the course of the game here. Oh wait, I push again. Okay, there's my ult. I got my ult there.
Do you know that Hex kills illusions?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
Yes, I do,
just
coach.
making sure. Just making sure.
I do, coach. Yes. I played Lion was my guy.
Okay.
Lion was my guy, and I hate that I had to let him go, but Lion was my guy, and I had fun, like, mana draining and hexing.
Hey man, if you ever want to like duo queue, maybe this will be featured down the road, but if you ever want to duo queue and your carry player picks an objective taker, you can then pick stuns and shit like Lion and have some fun with it. As long as you know the guy in your group that's gonna take the objectives. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
in the future, right now I'm just gonna just gonna focus on these heroes, because Lion can't take towers. He can kill Terrorblade though.
Oh, absolutely. Lion's one of the hardest support counters to Terrorblade in the entire game. So
yeah, I can get his especially if I had that AoE hex, man, your Elus are gone, bro.
I want to tell you that the most impactful tower is the mid lane tier 1. Like, in the entire game. Based on, like, how important it is and how easy it is to take. Meaning, like, the difficulty of how it is to take and how much it offers for one team to have it and not. The reason why is because if one team gets the mid tier 1, it is, like, infinitely harder for the opponent to then get their tier 1. Like, I want you to think about how much harder it is to take the opponent mid tier 1 once yours is dead. So what I would tell you is if the opponent's lineup is superior to yours late game, if they took the mid tier 1 first, you're like 10% to win this freaking game. Like,
is that
purely
Is
based
that
on
why
that.
we lost?
So, like, I'm telling you though, like, it's at this point, the only way you win is if they throw. Like, that's actually the only way you win. I'm 100% sure on this. Like, they just have to feed.
Freaking
Like, they actually, like, that tower is so important because now you're never going to get theirs. They're going to farm as much as they want, and this 2k advantage is going to slowly just go in favor of them. And then they're better late game, and then, like, at that point, like, the momentum's lost. Your lineup is pick-off based. You have Storm, like, a lot of pick-off. Shadow Shaman, a lot of pick-off. Pudge, a lot of pick-off. Night Stalker, a lot of pick-off. Pick-off, as a concept, is great if you control more farm area than the opponent. It is terrible if the opponent controls more farm area than you. Because if you're trying to pick people off, and they have a very small area that they're allowed to farm, it's quite easy to find them. Like, very easy. If they have the entire map to farm, Terrorblade's pushing with illusions, you know, all of a sudden trying to kill anybody becomes really hard. So this tier 1 basically gives them all the map control in the world, and even though you're technically ahead by 1k right now,
we are. That's why I wondered why we
lost.
You
are not winning.
Fuck, because we gave away tier 1 mid, even if we took safe lane
I'm
mid
curious
first.
about Dota Plus. I'm actually curious. It gives you a 75% win rate here. That shocks me. And this is the type of situation where I don't necessarily agree with Dota Plus. Like, that's for me, like, I think Dota Plus is
Coach?
accurate at like 9K level. Like, I don't know. But go ahead.
Yeah. No, I would have thought that, I think 75% was good at this point. I mean, this is me knowing what we know. We were 2K above, we have 2010 in the score. We got tier 1.
The fact that they've now fed 2 kills and you're getting tier 1. So I told you that the game's really hard because you're not getting tier 1, right?
Yes, and we're getting.
So if
getting
you're
tier
behind, and I'm telling you now that the game sucks that they got your tier 1 and you haven't gotten theirs, what move do you just have to make? Like, what do you just have to do?
I have to drop my wards.
You just have to get this fucking tier 1. Like, what I'm saying is if I tell you right now how important this mid tier 1 is, I don't care what you do next, it has to lead to you getting this tier 1. Like, get creative, get desperate, I don't care. Like, get the damn tier 1, right? Like, so what I'm saying is this game's rough, but they just fed 2 kills.
Yes,
and
we did,
when I say you're not going to win unless they throw, the cool thing about that is you're in 1K. People are going to throw all the freaking time. So I want you to know what the relevance of their throwing is. You're
my wife.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Sorry, my wife just handed me food. Thank you, honey.
No problem. Do you see what I'm saying there?
Bro, I see that. No, because here's the thing. What I need to understand as well is, one, I didn't even understand that giving up tier 1 mid was so crucial.
Yeah.
Coach, my additional question here was, man, I should have dropped those fucking wards.
Absolutely.
Man.
You do not hold back. This mid tier 1 is
that important.
everything.
If I knew that, then I would have known. Here, now with this coaching session, if I'm in the same situation, then I would have done. But here, the beauty of this is now I understand why we freaking lost this game. That's why this is the freaking game I wanted to show.
I actually think if you guys got mid tier 1 there and didn't die, I think you could have had a chance to win this game. Like, I think your chance of winning this game is like infinitely better than it is now. Because at that point, you took the tower, you might get a kill or 2 afterwards, and suddenly map control's yours. But now it's everything you just worked for and they threw in your favor just got like reverse thrown.
All right, Pudge, Night Stalker, Store, Monkey. If you were the guys I soloed with, if you're watching this is why we lost. Right here, man. It's why we lost, guys. I hope you're watching this. We played a few days ago. This is why we lost, boys. Oh, if I dropped my wards, we could have won.
Yeah. The point that I'd say is I think the enemy team pushing your tier 2 is honestly kind of stupid. Because...
Really?
Since they farm better than you, like your team's a kill team,
BSJ.
like your heroes are built around killing people.
Always.
Yeah.
And they benefit from just farming. The last thing they should be doing is forcing a fight.
They should be farming at our jungle.
They should they should just be doing the whole top and mid thing, shoving in lanes and just farming twice as fast as you are. It's like even if this works for them, they 100% don't have anything go wrong if they just farm the map, right? Like they just win. This is giving you guys the only win condition that you have is to kill them. So like I look at my lineup and I'm like, does my lineup farm better or kill better? And if the answer is like whatever it is, just force that. If you're ahead, you play to your advantages. If you're behind, you usually dodge the opponent's advantages. So like in this case, their advantage is to farm. You have to try your best to stop them from doing that, which is killing them.
B, I have a question. This might seem like a very basic, silly question, but at my level...
Hey, man, I always forget the things that I already know, you know?
Yeah. How do you know if your team kills better versus farming better? And how do you know if a team farms better or kills better? How do I know that? What are my bases? What are the things I need to know?
So it's a great question. My first and foremost thing whenever I talk about this kind of shit is that obviously the cool thing about this that I've realized as a coach is that when I'm coaching this to a 1K and I'm coaching it to a 5K, I can have the same discussion, but naturally a 5K player will just have a better understanding of Dota, right? So my emphasis is, first and foremost, that you think about it and make a guess. Like, hey guys, we're ahead. I think we're just supposed to farm. Or, hey guys, we're ahead. I think they have better late game. I think we're supposed to try to take towers and kill them. You know, I want you to make that guess, okay?
Okay.
But then the ways to know this, usually single target heroes are pick off, not farm oriented. Because naturally, if you're single target, you also don't kill creeps. So like Night Stalker single target, Pudge is single target. Even Storm, who is quote unquote single target, he needs to be able to stand on top of creep waves to clear them, right? Like, and if he can't do that safely, like, which usually requires enemy heroes.
Ursa's a single target. Ursa's a single target.
Who is?
Ursa?
Yeah, but Ursa's nowadays have been building Battle Fury. But yes, he is single target. Yes, Ursa is absolutely, for the like in terms of his damage output, is single target. So
what does Battle Fury do? I'm so sorry.
Battle Fury is a cleave item. It gives you where the unit you hit, it also does like 60% damage to the units around it.
Oh, so you gave Ursa farm.
Yeah, basically.
Like you're now a single target monster that can farm creeps.
Yes,
as well.
it makes it's a damage
That's why
item
Ursa's
that makes you farm really fast. Yeah. So
kind of Sven has that.
Yeah, Sven has that item built into his toolkit.
kit.
Yeah. No, that's perfectly fine, man. As a support, you've never built a Battle Fury, so I wouldn't expect that.
Yeah, never. Yeah, sorry.
Do it for the mana regen, guys. But okay, so my point though is you get a general idea when you're paying attention of how quickly heroes farm, how quickly they clear creep waves. Like on Medusa's side, she just has a spell that hits five creeps by just attacking, right? Or 4 creeps.
I got you, bro.
Terrorblade, his illusions naturally just push waves.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
Usually the teams that have natural ways of pushing waves, it's like even for Storm, he has to expend a lot of mana to clear waves. So he's like a pick-off hero more so than a farming hero. He farms, but he won't farm as efficiently as a hero like Terrorblade and Dusa, who have units that just hit things, right? Like, they just hit things. So my point is, though, thinking about how quickly people clear waves, how efficient it is for them to clear waves,
yes,
that usually means, like, you're the farming team.
We are the farming. That is really important.
So the way I look at it is whatever team does that better is the farming team, and the other team has to do something. You know, like whether that's objectives.
Pick them off. Pick them off so they don't get to. Yeah.
Yes. And then at that point, if you're the team that is not the better farming team, you have to play to your own strengths in terms of like, are you a pushing team? Are you a roshing team? Are you a pick-off team? Like, the point is you can't be complacent doing nothing if you are the team that is inferior at farming. That is pretty much how I look at it. If I'm the team that's ahead and I like to farm, I'm just farming. If I'm a team that's behind and I like to farm, I'm also just farming, right? Like, but like, you know, in that case, when you're behind, you're kind of like dodging them. When you're ahead, you're just kind of farming wherever you want that you think is better.
This is fucking important, coach.
Yeah, right.
You have to maximize your advantage just versus...
Very rarely are both teams on equal footing in this regard. Very rarely.
Yes.
Usually one team would prefer to farm. Almost always. So the enemy team, to be very clear to you and everyone watching, because of everything I've stated to you, them pushing high ground right now, they're fucking garbage, man. Like, what are they doing? Like, why? You have superior late game, you have complete control of the map, all the enemy team can do is try to kill you, and you're walking high ground without an Aegis. What are you doing? You know, like, that, but the cool thing is, the bracket you're in, you'll have a lot of room for error,
and capitalizing on that.
And capitalizing on the opponent. And if you're thinking about this kind of stuff, you'll be like, hey, man, I know we need to kill these guys. But then they try to push. You're like, holy shit, this is the dream. This is exactly what we need them to do. Like, okay.
Here's the thing. This is what this session does. You're helping me see these throws. Like, yo, you weren't supposed to do that. We can F you up. Or like, we were supposed to do this. Coach, my question is, I wanted to make sure to ask this before we move forward, and we're about to wrap up because we're hitting the mark. When you push mid tower, you're saying that you get so much control over the map, and my assumption is it's their jungle, right? It's not their triangle. It's the opponent's jungle at their safe lane.
Basically what happens is when you take mid-tier 1 and they don't have theirs, this area is yours. Like, if you're Dire, this area is now yours.
What? Sorry?
If you're Dire, this area is yours now because this distance is shorter than this distance. Meaning that it's much easier for your team to get here than it is for the opponent team.
To get there, yes,
so
that's
if
correct.
I control this, what do I control? Any ideas?
Oh, here. Okay, wait.
Like, if I control this rather than just this, because if you both have mid-tier 1s, you control this, and they control this. But if you're Dire and you now control this, what does this give you?
This gives me... Well, okay, that's open. Well, wait, sorry about that. That's our time, coach.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up in the next 5 minutes here.
We'll wrap it up in the next 5, yeah. Okay, this is important. If I'm Radiant...
If you're if you're Radiant and you take their mid-tier 1, then you would now have control of this.
Yes, yeah.
So, either way, if I'm Radiant and I have control of this, or if I'm Dire and I have control of this, what does this give me?
Okay, let's say in my case, if Dire, I have control of this. Well, I can ward their jungle safe lane. I have access.
Absolutely.
Here.
You have another access to their jungle, right? Like, you could walk this way.
Yeah, yes, I can walk there. So as long as I ward it properly, then we have all that much area of farming for my team. We also have a faster area to their triangle, like where if they need to farm, and Roche as well. And bounty
runes, power runes, double damage, haste runes, arcane runes. You control all this shit in the river. Like, this whole river's yours now because you took their mid-tier one. So I'll just tell you, games are won off of like random haste runes, DD runes, arcane runes. Like, your mid laner having a bottle constantly getting filled and farming more efficiently rather than their mid laner who like always has to go to base to get mana and health.
Oh shit!
There's so much.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Can we? I'm sorry. Can we tier this when you get? These are the things you get when you get tier 1 mid.
Yeah.
These are the most important things you get.
You get access to their jungle from another way. Like, you get another way into their jungle. You get potential access to their triangle. Potential, meaning, like, if you're strong enough, you're now invading their triangle. Which you could never invade their triangle if this tower's still here. Yes. And you're getting the river, which is all the runes.
The river, which is all the runes. Are runes that... again, this is a stupid question. How important are runes?
Yeah, you just have to be a mid laner. If you're getting your bottle constantly refilled by a rune, and you're getting random DDs that like allow you to kill people, random haste runes that allow you to like run around the map freely, it's just a huge deal. Like, if you watch high level mid laners and their supports or whatever aren't helping them control the runes, they get like really tilted. The runes are really important. Just because they kind of help you. Like I told you, you're trying to create the most statistically likely things to work. Runes make a lot of things that wouldn't have worked, work. Like, you have the double damage, so now you have enough damage to kill this Terrorblade before he sunders. You have this haste rune, so all the slows they could have used to kill you don't kill you anymore. You know, it's like...
Don't kill me anymore.
Yeah, that's what runes kind of do. Yeah.
So coming from what I see, runes are basically used to definitely get objectives or win a team fight.
Absolutely. Runes can be deciding on pickoffs, team fights, objectives, all types of things. So having like that random chance to have that huge boost every 2 minutes is like a huge game changer. Yeah.
I think we have to have a special episode once, maybe in the future, where we can discuss the advantages of runes and maximize.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So the point is in this game, right, is... Yeah. What we really learned, first and foremost, is that inefficiency period at the 14-minute mark or so, where you didn't push bottom when your ult was off cooldown or on cooldown, so you couldn't get mid when it was up, and then you guys pretty much just lost all of your momentum there. Like, that's pretty much what happened. You had momentum, you won the early game, and you just lost it all. And go ahead.
I'm listening, Coach. Go on.
What I don't mind seeing is you pushing in that bottom lane, walking to mid, trying to get it, and dying. That's like a natural mistake in Dota that I will always expect to happen sometimes. Like, that's a lesson you'll always have to learn exactly when you can push that mid tower. But what I never want to see again is trying to push mid tower without pushing that bottom wave first. That's the emphasis that I want people to have at the lower levels, because there are exceptions, right? Like, what I mean is, like, 99% of the time you're supposed to push bottom. There are exceptions, but I want you to behave according to how it is 99% of the time and worry about getting more advanced later.
As we go. Yes.
My point is, every time you push in that lane and you try to get that tower, you'll, like, okay, actually, let me reword this. If the lane's not pushed and you got the tower, you'll 100% have gotten the tower if you had then pushed the lane first and then gotten the tower. But not vice versa, where if you push the lane and get the tower, that would not have always worked if you just didn't push that lane. Like, you're just statistically more likely to get that tower if that bottom lane is pushed. So we talked about that, where you lost a lot of momentum. We talked about what to do, like, to constantly reset after kills. That's a lot about what it means to get or to keep momentum. Like, you did great moves. You did that smoke to bottom. That was fantastic. Now, instantly reset as quickly as possible. Your options are, like, ferrying yourself regen or basing. Those are the two options.
Those are resets. Those
are the resets, right? And then during the time your ult's on cooldown, or say it's not your ult that matters. Say it's like your Terrorblade, who, I don't know if you know, his metamorphosis is pretty much he's like a god when he's in it, and he's like useless when he's not. That's pretty much this hero.
And so, the cooldown is about...
It's the same as your war. Yeah, it's a long time. It's a long cooldown. So these heroes, when your team is not doing something, your job is to just stall and push as many creep waves as possible, right? Like, that's usually the best option.
Okay, let them basically worry about us getting our objectives.
Yeah, you're trying to stop them from getting your objectives by pushing creep waves. So these are, like, the major mindsets that we learned from this game. It's like, when your button is off, like when your switch is off, be as efficient as possible clearing the map. So that when you have your abilities up, you're poised to use them.
Your cooldown is supposed to set up you being able to use your special ability when it's up.
Absolutely.
Basically.
And so this is a lesson that we haven't talked about at all yet, because Shaman is ult dependent. While, yes, CM's ulti is nice, she is not ulti dependent, right? That's why I try to say, when you're learning new heroes, that I try to limit the pool, because there's a ton of concepts in Dota, and each hero is impacted by them differently, right? Like, every hero, like, I want you to understand the importance of cooldowns, but that's really only going to help you with, like, 40 heroes in the game of Dota. The other 80 of them don't care, right? So that's why when we have these three heroes and we've finally gotten to Shaman, it's really cool to talk about mistakes that you would never learn, because we were talking about Jakiro in Crystal Maiden. So
I got you.
Are there any final questions you have before we kind of wrap up? By the way,
Coach,
next week we're doing the live session where we're going to attempt to do me coaching you in the middle of a game, and we're going to treat it as a practical final exam to see what Eri, how far you've come during the last 4 or 5 weeks.
This is our final exam. This is you're gonna coach. I'm gonna play with the team, guys I usually play with, and Coach B is gonna be our coach, and we're gonna see if I can pull off everything he's taught me over the course of these 5 weeks efficiently as best. So you're gonna be grading me. You're gonna have your notes, Coach. You're like, all right, check. Keep coached. He's not a useless piece of shit.
So I'm the teacher here giving you your notes for the practical exam. What I am only going to be saying during the game, I will never tell you, push this button now. What I will tell you is, you're strong enough to go kill somebody. Your next objective is mid-tower, set up for it. You just killed somebody, you're low on mana. I'll tell you things that you're supposed to be thinking about during the game.
Okay.
And so my goal will be to combine what you've learned because you're now you're teachable, right? Like now you understand what I view as important, and then in the game give you a quick reminder, a gentle push saying this is BSJ's inner voice, guiding you. This is where you're supposed. You're gonna nurture my triggers. On things you already exactly. I'm conditioning you on your triggers. That's basically what it'll be, and that's what I'm going to be doing in the game. So I will be as minimalistic as possible talking to you.
Okay.
Just to be clear.
Yeah. I want to see that. I want to see.
Yeah. Same time next week for that, guys. Everyone watching who's asking.
Yes, same time next week. It's going to be 11 a.m. PHT Saturday and 11 p.m. EDT New York time Friday. That's Coach B's time. Coach, I understand why we lost this game. I'm excited to freaking queue and try to see the advantages of, them throwing or the cooldown and efficiency with mana. I'm seeing if you're a single target hero, then you're more of a killing hero. If you push waves better, then you're more or less a more farming hero. These are things I'm going to think about. The most important area for an opponent is their triangle because you take away their main source of farm. So if we can run up them and kill them there, then that's a big advantage. Especially if Terrorblade, he's more probably likely farming there in any case, or one thing or another. And you have to maximize your advantages versus the other team's advantages.
Yes.
Basically. Coach, we did it.
Nice.
I got it. I understand. Thank you so much.
Do your homework.
I'm going to do my homework, Coach B, and I look forward to the practical exam. That's going to be fun next week.
Sounds good. Have a good one.
All right. See you, Coach B. See you guys.